Hello everyone, this is Adam for RealHomeRecording.com. In this video, I will answer the question, which pan law should I use? For all of you too long didn't watch types, the answer is -4.5 decibels. That pan law provides for the best compromise of all the pan laws. And now, the details. Panning is a process in which signal strengths between channels are changed. Having more than one speaker channel helps to create the illusion of sound in a three-dimensional space. In stereo panning, we use a 201 step scale. All the way left, we have 100%, and then all the way to the right, we have 100% as well. At the 0 point, that's our 201 steps. At the 0 point, both channels are equally receiving the signal, and this creates what's called a phantom center. It's called phantom center because it sounds like a third center speaker is created when both speakers are putting out a signal equally. The 0 point is also called the 12 o'clock position, and that's because on mixing boards, you usually have a rotary knob like this over here, where if I were to change this, the dot goes to different positions that if we were to put a clock face over this knob, the 0 point up and down would be at the 12 o'clock position. All the way to the left would be 7 o'clock, and all the way to the right would be the 5 o'clock position. The problem with panning is that the same signal at the 12 o'clock spot is louder than the same signal level 100% left or 100% right. 3 decibels louder to be precise. So, the smart audio gear designers came up with something called pan laws to address this problem. Pan laws define the amount of attenuation applied while panning. Specifically, the amount of attenuation as you get closer to straight up the middle at 12 o'clock. In Reaper, if we go under the project settings, under the advanced tab, we have our default pan laws at 0, -2.5, -3, -4.5, and -6. All corresponding to decibels. So, which one should you choose? I already answered this question, but you might choose differently than what I said at the beginning. Before I answer that question and go in a little bit more detail, it's important that you set this on your project before you start your mix, because if you change while you're in the middle of the mix, it will mess with your levels. And if you're collaborating with somebody on a project, their pan law needs to be set the same as yours, and vice versa. So pan law is something that you should definitely include in the project notes. For most music mixing needs, I would go with -4.5 decibels. -3 decibels will cover your stereo panning needs so that you won't ever have to worry about readjusting your levels as you pan. The perceived loudness when using -3 decibels for your pan law stays the same no matter where you pan. However, if you need perfect mono compatibility, go with -6. The reason I recommend -4.5 is because it's a compromise between -3 and -6. It also just so happens to be the pan law that the classic solid-state logic consoles that were built in the 80s employ. Even in modern times, and we're talking 2015 now, almost going on 2016, mono compatibility is still important because we have these phones or other devices that only have one speaker, like a GPS or whatever, one speaker in a bathroom, and 4.5 or -4.5 has a smaller difference between 3 and 6. So if you were to set the pan law to 3, there would be a 3 decibel difference when your stereo mix is summed to mono. Now at -6 decibels, we will have 100% mono compatibility. However, you will need to adjust your levels anytime you decide to pan. which can be a pain in the ass. So if you don't want to deal with that, negative 4.5 is the compromise. 1.5 decibels isn't going to be a huge difference, so you won't have to adjust levels as much. But if you want absolute monocompatibility, negative 6 decibel pan law is the way to go. But I like to use negative 4.5, and I've been happy doing that for a bit. And yeah, so that's about it. I hope this answered your question. Pan law, a boring topic, but an important topic. This has been Adam for RealHomeRecording.com.